Picture this. There's a man in a cafe, scrolling through his phone, seemingly detached, barely noticing the woman who just walked past. She's smart, beautiful, someone everyone wants to be around, but he acts like she's nothing. No compliments, no flattery, no desperate attempts to impress. And yet, she can't stop thinking about him. Every glance, every slight gesture, he's pulling her attention without even trying. It's a paradox that confuses most men. The more indifferent he seems, the more obsessed she becomes. Meanwhile, the perfect guy, who texts good morning, buys flowers, and plans every date meticulously, she's bored within a few weeks. What if I told you there's a reason behind this, rooted deep in biology, psychology, and human behavior, that women aren't addicted to cruelty, but to subtle signals of value, control, and mystery? By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some men become irresistible and how to embody these principles without being manipulative. Imagine a man who's always available. He texts immediately, agrees to every plan, compliments without hesitation, and lays all his cards on the table. At first, it feels comforting, but soon, the excitement fades. Predictability kills attraction. Now contrast him with a man who acts almost indifferent, who doesn't always reply instantly, and who maintains his own life and priorities. This subtle distance triggers something deep in her mind. Women are wired to seek challenge, to invest mental energy in determining a man's value. When a man is scarce, she can't fully predict his reactions, and her brain unconsciously starts analyzing, wondering, does he like me? Why didn't he text back? This uncertainty sparks fascination and emotional investment. Her mind is now engaged, and she starts prioritizing him without even realizing it. This is not manipulation, it's evolution in action. Human attraction is tied to intermittent reinforcement. Unpredictable rewards create deeper attachment than constant availability. The man who appears self-sufficient, mysterious, and emotionally measured instantly gains higher perceived value, even if he isn't materially superior. Mystery acts like a magnetic force, drawing her in and keeping her invested, because the challenge activates her hunter instincts, making her want to win his attention. Women's attraction isn't random. Deep in their biology lies an instinct that has been honed over millions of years. They are wired to seek men with higher survival value than themselves. In the ancient world, choosing the strongest, most resourceful partner could mean life or death. A woman who selected a man unable to provide protection or sustenance risked her safety and the survival of her children. This isn't a conscious calculation, it's subconscious, running in the background of every interaction. Hypergamy, the principle of marrying up, is still active today, even in a world of supermarkets and modern security. What matters now isn't just wealth or status, it's perceived value. A man might have a high-paying job, a sleek car, and a perfect physique, but if his behavior screams neediness or insecurity, she perceives him as lower value. Contrast this with a man who is average by conventional standards, but carries himself with confidence, independence, and an abundance mindset. He doesn't chase, he doesn't overinvest, yet his presence commands attention. Women's attraction circuits respond to this subtle hierarchy. Evolutionary programming meets modern social cues. Confidence, calm dominance, and emotional composure signal high value. Understanding this psychological wiring is critical. It explains why good guys often lose interest quickly, while men who strategically balance availability and challenge spark obsession and deep attraction. In the dating world, perception often outweighs reality. A man's bank account, job title, or physique might matter to some extent, but what truly captivates a woman is how she perceives his value. Consider two men. One, a wealthy lawyer who texts incessantly, overcompensates with gifts, and seeks constant approval. The other, a bartender with modest means, playful humor, and an abundance mindset. The wealthy lawyer might have every external marker of high value, yet the bartender commands attention effortlessly. Why? Because perception drives attraction, not material reality. Subtle behaviors, how a man handles rejection, maintains emotional control, or teases without desperation, signal high value. Women are subconsciously wired to notice these cues, scanning for independence, confidence, and self-sufficiency. This is emotional currency. Attention given too freely loses worth, while attention given unpredictably becomes priceless. When a man overinvests, he signals scarcity in himself, desperation, and low status. Conversely, when he balances warmth with strategic challenge, he creates tension, curiosity, and desire. Perceived value becomes the invisible magnet. It dictates who women chase and who they dismiss. Understanding this is crucial for any man who wants to generate lasting attraction, turning uncertainty into fascination and casual interest into obsession. Attraction isn't built on certainty, it thrives on curiosity and a hint of challenge. When a man is overly predictable, constantly available, or clearly invested, a woman's interest begins to fade, often without her realizing why. This is where the principle of intermittent reinforcement comes into play. Humans, and especially women in romantic contexts, respond intensely to rewards that are unpredictable. A delayed text, a playful tease, or a subtle display of independence sends a signal that the man has options, that he is not consumed by her approval. Contrast this with the typical nice guy who showers attention, agrees with everything, and appears desperate to please. The result? Predictability kills desire, while uncertainty sparks obsession. Importantly, this is not manipulation or cruelty, it's a reflection of evolutionary wiring. Her brain, subconsciously scanning for signals of value, becomes more engaged when she has to earn your attention. Small acts of nonchalance, measured responses, and the occasional display of self-interest create a magnetic tension. She begins to think about you when you're not around, replaying moments, analyzing behavior, and subtly competing for your attention. In this delicate dance, uncertainty becomes your ally, preserving attraction, maintaining psychological dominance, and making her crave the very presence you offer. Women are constantly running silent experiments to gauge your worth, your confidence, and how invested you truly are. These aren't conscious challenges, they're evolutionary instincts, designed to reveal your value without a single word being spoken. A casual comment about another man, a subtle cold shoulder, or even an exaggerated story about someone else isn't random. It's a test. How you respond determines whether you rise in her subconscious estimation or fall flat. Men who panic, over-explain, or chase immediately broadcast low value. They reveal desperation, neediness, and a lack of options, and her brain instinctively registers that as weakness. Conversely, the man who remains calm, composed, and measured in his responses signals high value. By strategically mirroring her energy, maintaining playful indifference, or subtly reinforcing his boundaries, he passes the test without saying a word. Each test she unconsciously administers, comparison, attitude, or availability, is a chance to strengthen attraction. When handled correctly, she feels the magnetic tension of having to earn your attention, constantly thinking about you and your reactions. Understanding these subconscious tests allows you to maintain psychological leverage, avoid predictability, and create the irresistible push and pull dynamic that keeps her hooked and invested in ways most men never even notice. Humans are wired to respond to unpredictability, and in relationships, this principle becomes a secret weapon for attraction. When a man is constantly available, always responding immediately, showering her with compliments, or seeking validation, he removes the mystery that sparks desire. Her brain quickly categorizes him as predictable and safe, and while that may seem ideal, it actually kills the primal excitement that fuels obsession. By strategically withholding attention and selectively responding, a man triggers her subconscious drive to invest energy in winning him over. This is the principle of intermittent reinforcement. Rewards given inconsistently are far more compelling than those delivered predictably. Consider texting. When a man responds immediately to every message, she assumes he is fully invested and loses mental energy thinking about him. But when responses are measured, playful, or occasionally delayed, she starts analyzing his behavior, wondering about his interest, and becomes emotionally preoccupied. Social availability works the same way. Attending some events, prioritizing your own life, and maintaining boundaries signals high value. Contrast this with predictable good guy behavior, constant validation and eagerness, which signals low status and reduces attraction. Mastering scarcity transforms simple attention into a prized currency that women unconsciously compete to earn. Women constantly evaluate men through instinctive tests, often without realizing it themselves. These tests are not conscious challenges, they are evolutionary mechanisms designed to measure a man's confidence, emotional independence, and perceived value. One of the most common is the comparison test, where she mentions another attractive man or an ex. A needy or jealous reaction instantly signals low value, while a calm, playful, or even agreeing response shows self-assuredness. Another frequent test is the availability test. She may suggest meeting, then cancel or delay plans. Men who panic or overcompensate fail. Those who remain composed, saying something like, "No problem, maybe another time," pass effortlessly. The attitude test is subtle. She may act cold or dismissive to gauge emotional control. Reacting with desperation fails. Mirroring her energy or maintaining calm signals mastery. Passing these tests reinforces scarcity and intrigue, creating tension that fuels attraction. It also strengthens a man's frame control, showing he doesn't bend his reality to seek approval. By understanding and responding correctly to these tests, a man keeps her mentally engaged, curious, and invested. Mastery of these behaviors transforms relationships, maintaining high interest while subtly guiding the emotional dynamics, ensuring she continues to chase the connection instead of taking it for granted. Emotional scarcity is one of the most powerful yet overlooked drivers of female attraction. When a man is constantly available, immediately responds to every message, or showers a woman with validation, he unknowingly diminishes his own perceived value. Women are wired to notice what is rare, unpredictable, and challenging. This is why men who maintain subtle emotional scarcity become far more compelling. Emotional scarcity doesn't mean ignoring her or being cold. It's about creating space, protecting your time, and investing attention selectively. For example, instead of replying instantly to every text, take a thoughtful pause. Instead of agreeing with everything she says, offer measured, confident opinions that reveal your independence. This naturally triggers curiosity, keeps her mentally engaged, and motivates her to invest effort into understanding you. Contrast this with overinvestment. The man who says yes to every request, compliments endlessly, or rearranges his life around her will quickly become predictable and lose her interest. By balancing care with independence, you create tension, challenge, and intrigue, the ingredients of lasting attraction. Emotional scarcity encourages her to pursue you mentally and emotionally, deepening desire and commitment. It is not manipulation. It is aligning with the psychological principles of attraction, showing that your attention is valuable and worth earning. At the end of the day, the goal was never to make her chase you, regret you, or obsess over losing you. Those outcomes are side effects, not the mission. The real shift happens when you become the kind of man who leaves an emotional imprint simply by being present. Women don't remember every word you said or every gesture you made. They remember how they felt around you. Calm, safe, uncertain in a good way, grounded. This is what separates men who are forgotten from men who linger in her mind long after they're gone. When you stop performing for approval and start living from purpose, your energy changes. You speak less, but with weight. You give attention, but selectively. You walk away from disrespect without drama. That emotional restraint creates gravity. She doesn't chase because you asked her to. She feels drawn because you're not trying to pull her closer. You're standing firmly in your own world. This is where attraction matures into respect, where desire deepens into attachment, and where obsession quietly replaces indifference. Becoming this man isn't about tactics. It's about identity. It's about choosing discipline over validation, direction over distraction, and self-respect over emotional bargaining. When you do that, women don't feel like they lost a man. They feel like they lost access to an experience, and that feeling stays with them. If this message resonates, don't rush to apply it outward. Apply it inward. Build the man first. The rest follows naturally. Stay here, subscribe, and continue sharpening the mindset that puts you back in control of your emotions, your future, and your presence.